Now, see, she said she had no relationships with him whatsoever. He was just a friend.
I did not have a sexual relationship.
Well, you did say, Miss Muriel, he was just a friend, so... Miss Dennis, I requested that you meet me in my chambers because after I read...
I've never seen somebody start off in the private chambers. What did she do already that you gotta go to the private chambers before the video even start? This lady up to no good and I'm already seeing it.
Read your court file. I was truly touched by what I read. I realized that you've been searching for your father since you were 12 years old. The man you believe is your father. But you have never seen him. You have never spoken to him. You have never heard his voice.
Not one time.
And so today will be the very first day you will do that. And I wanted to make sure you were okay and you were prepared.
I'm nervous, I really am,
I'm
because all I've known of him is these pictures that I've had my entire life.
And these are?
These are pictures of my mother and him at their wedding.
And so you've had these pictures your whole life, but you have not had your biological father.
Not one bit.
But I just wanted to make sure.
I just noticed Jerome posted everywhere. Everywhere Jerome posted up. Ready for action. Anything pop off in here, Jerome, Jerome ready with the smoke. I like that about Jerome.
Jerome, please escort Miss Dennis to the courtroom.
Go ahead and go this way.
All right.
Tell her where
Please
to
be
go.
seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
This is a case of Dennis versus Dennis.
Thank you, Jerome. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Miss Dennis, today will be the very first day you've ever laid eyes on the man you've known to be your father.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to make clear that you understand that he denies that he is your biological father.
Absolutely.
How do you go from being married to divorced to not seeing the child your wife is pregnant with, even if you don't believe that's your kid? You don't see it once?
All right. Jerome, at this time, I'd ask that you please escort Mr. Dennis into the courtroom.
Bring him out
so we
here.
can begin the proceedings.
Bring him out, Jerome. Rough him up if you have to. Punch him 1 or 2 times.
Good morning, sir.
Look at him. He look like he up to no good already. I hate when people beard turn green or yellow, whatever's around his mouth.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us. Miss Dennis, I'd like to start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been in search of your biological father for close to 23 years?
Yes, ma'am.
And you truly believe that Mr. Dennis, who stands here at the defense,
What's all over his face? Yeah, he up to no good.
is your biological father?
Correct.
Tell me what you learned and why you believe this to be true.
Well, I've had pictures my entire life. I've been looking at them since I was very little. I feel that I look exactly like him. I have his nose, his cheekbones, his eyes. My mother says that I look just like his mother when she was younger. You know, I know when they got married, when they split up, I know for a fact that my mother was not with anybody else during the time that they were together.
Why wasn't your biological father in your life? What were you told?
I was told that he actually left my mother when she was 6 weeks pregnant with me.
Wrong.
Mr. Dennis, you say that's wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell the court what your position is.
My position is here right now today is to give her closure, myself closure, of me being the father or not being the father, which to me, I believe I'm not, because when me and her mother were married, I was a truck driver at the time. And on Memorial Day weekend, I was down in Florida. I called her phone. She is out on the lake in the middle of the night by herself on an antique wooden boat with her ex-boyfriend while her children are up on the bank.
And so you believe your wife at the time was cheating
Yes, ma'am.
while you were on runs as a truck driver.
Yes, ma'am. Trying to make a living
How
for
soon
her and the
after
family.
that did you find out her mother was pregnant?
When I got back from Florida, we split up because of that. I moved to Arkansas. She started the divorce proceedings. And then I got a letter in the mail stating that the proceedings had stopped due to her pregnancy.
So then they paused the divorce proceedings because she was pregnant.
Until after the child was born. I have requested to see the child, but I was living in a different state. But it would have been every 2 weeks, 2 hours, supervised visitation.
And so you have never seen Ms. Dennis?
No, ma'am, I
in
have
person.
not until today.
This young woman who has believed her entire life that you're her biological father, you were married to her mother.
Yes, ma'am.
You have never laid eyes on her.
Never have.
Until this day, this moment.
Yes, ma'am.
That don't make no sense to me.
I have requested from her mother, and I have proof for DNA test and everything else that I have been denied by courts from her mother and everybody else.
Please hand me Mr. Dennis's evidence. What is this, sir?
That is proof of the DNA request that I have requested from the courts. But with her mother denying, I could not get a DNA test.
And so, Ms. Dennis, when did you learn of all of this?
I heard the full story, finally when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
I hate to say this, and I hate to be rude to anybody, but your mother has misled you on a lot of things while you were growing up.
Well, on that note, I want to make sure we do hear the other side of the story. So, Ms. Miro, are you here? Can you hear me?
I am, and I can.
Okay.
Ms. Miro, you understand that Mr. Dennis alleges at that time that you were in a situation on a boat with another man, an ex-boyfriend, which led him to believe that Ms. Dennis could not be his biological daughter. Can you please tell the court how you remember this situation?
As I recall this situation, it was not after we were married that I went on a boat with a friend, and my children were there.
On the bank.
In fact, he let my daughter drive the boat.
Ooh.
And he's a good friend of mine.
She was
He
dating
was
him
just
at the
letting
time
us
we met.
see his boat after he had restored it.
Mr. Dennis says that you cheated with this man,
She is telling
which
a
led to
fable
you
story.
becoming pregnant.
She is telling
No,
a fable
I
story.
never had a sexual relationship with anyone.
And she was
Yes,
dating the man
he
at the
was,
time when I
Wait. Why would a man that's just your friend be letting you see his new renovated boat? Men ain't just that friendly. Why is she such good pals with this guy that he inviting her onto the boat? What's going on there?
her and her friend
We dated
came in
for
the
a
bar.
short period of time before I met Steve Dennis. We dated
Came in
for
the
a
bar.
short period of time.
Didn't she just say she ain't sleep with nobody and now all of a sudden she dating her friend? He's just a friend, but now she's saying she dated him?
Before I met Steve Dennis.
Now, see, she
Dennis,
said she
we
had
never
no
dated.
relationships with him
I
whatsoever.
did
He was
not
just a
have
friend.
a sexual relationship.
Well,
He
you
was a
did say,
friend.
Miss Miro, he was just a friend. So the
Yes.
truth is you did used to date him romantically
Yes,
before
for a
you
short
met
period of
Mr.
time.
Dennis. Your
Caught
testimony.
you. Caught you.
Ms. Dennis, I want you to take a moment and I want you to tell Mr. Dennis about your search for him. Tell him about the hurt.
It's 23 years of wondering why. Why doesn't my father want me? Why doesn't my father care? Why isn't my father trying to find me? I tried for years, since I was about 12 years old, to contact your family. They've read and received my messages, especially before your father died.
This is the first I've known of that.
It's been a struggle. It really has.
Okay, if your mother would have complied to the request that I made for a DNA test, I would have been there. You would have never had to hurt for nothing. Never
I
wanted
want
for
to
anything.
answer to that. No one ever asked me for a DNA
You're a
test.
liar.
He
I've
never-
requested from the courts. I've requested for 23
They
years. I've
never
been fighting this,
contacted
Teresa.
me with any request whatsoever.
You are a liar. I've got the
No,
proof. The
I'm
judge
not.
has the proof where I've requested.
This is the evidence he gave to the court earlier. In regards to DNA testing, you would have to pay for all of this. Get it all set up, have a judge order the testing if the DEP was not in agreement. Look at it. He got it right there in the black and white. He was trying to do something. I don't really know what this means.
And let me be clear. You have
Judge, clear that up. Did it? Yeah, the judge need to be like, yeah, he actually did request. The paper right there, Judge. Talk up for him.
been responsible for child support, Mr. Dennis,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
these years.
I have been homeless because of it.
Whoa.
As you say, you have been denied
by courts.
The DNA test that you've needed
Yes, ma'am,
for
for 23
20-something years.
Yes, ma'am.
You have been homeless.
I have been homeless because I
Because
can't
of the
pay
child
rent, pay
support.
my bills because my checks have been garnished. 66 1/3% of my check. And I can't pay rent. I can't do nothing. I don't have a life. And I have got the proof of my rares what I'm back owed.
Jerome, let me see that, please.
Jerome,
and I
let
can
me
see
see
this
that.
makes you emotional because you believe you did the right thing in the beginning by requesting a DNA
Yes,
test.
ma'am.
You truly felt like at that time your wife had been unfaithful to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And you asked for a DNA test.
Yes, ma'am.
You were not granted it.
Yes, ma'am.
From that point on, you were responsible for child support
Yes,
each and
ma'am.
every month over the last 20-something years, and
Oh,
you've now
my
just
God.
presented to the court.
Child support don't end after the person turned 18. How you pay child support for 20 years? I thought it cut off at 18. When a kid turned 18, I thought it stops. And why do they keep taking child support without confirming if the father is the child without the DNA test? How is the child support so much that he became homeless for paying it? That's crazy.
The rares I'm behind.
That your payments are approximately $300 every single month.
Whatever Jefferson.
And you are $146,918.51 in arrears.
$300 a month. How does that turn into $100,000? Oh my God.
And I look over my shoulder every day in fear of going to prison.
My God.
And then this cycle just kept continuing.
Yes, ma'am, because I can't even get my driver's license. The reason I haven't been there is because I don't believe she is my child. Her mother had denied me a DNA test, so why would I believe the child's mine? Why would I want to get involved with the child and come to find out years later that the child's not mine anyway?
So, Ms. Miro, what would you like to say in response?
That it was the biggest load of horse pucky I ever heard in my life.
Chucky.
Never asked for a DNA test.
You are a liar.
I sent them pictures for 2 years after she was born.
What pictures?
And they never even acknowledged them.
Who did you
I
send
mailed them
pictures to? Who did you mail
I sent them
pictures
to
to?
his parents, and they never acknowledged her.
I've never seen any pictures.
So are you both prepared for these results? Either way.
Yes, ma'am.
Have you really thought about
I have,
if
Your
I
Honor.
am or if I'm not?
I have.
If he is or if he isn't?
Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely ready to find out the truth.
I am too. I've been waiting 23 years.
And I won't make you wait a moment longer. Jerome, may I have the envelope, please? These results were prepared by DNA Diagnostics, and they read as follows. In the case of Dennis versus Dennis, when it comes to 22-year-old Sheila Dennis, it has been determined by this court. Mr. Dennis, you are the father.
I was about to say. Imagine he went through all that year of paying child support for the kid not to be his. Homeless over children and the child not even be his. It's only right that it's his kid. That's the least that could happen.
Thank you.